Yvette Allen,
And what city do you live in?
Columbus.
And how long have you been a caregiver?
Since the birth of my first granddaughter, but I like to say I'm considered a non-traditional caregiver. I help out because my daughter and my two granddaughters, they live with me. We all live in the same home. So you have the grandmother, which is me, the daughter, and my two granddaughters.
Do any of your own children live with you?
My daughter.
And how many kinship children live with you?
That would be considered the kinship. Okay, two.
And how old are they?
The oldest is 14. The youngest is 10.
What is your relationship to them?
I am their grandmother.
What is your legal relationship to them?
Grandmother.
What is the reason that they came into your care?
Uh, there was no reason. They just, because my daughter has always lived with me, okay? And once the two girls were born, we all just stayed here. So that's why I always considered myself the non-traditional caregiver because they didn't come into my care for any reason, except that they were born.
Do you have support from others? Family, friends, neighbors, church?
The support, first and foremost, would be God. Okay. Second, I have family members that are in Ohio, but not in Columbus. So it's just really me and oh, what do I need to say? I'm sorry. I phone calls away. Okay, I have a dear friend in California who is considered their aunt by the Christian sister. And my sister, who lives in Euclid, Ohio, is a teacher of special needs. So I get some advice from her. And then, of course, the Kinship Connect family. So,
What are the challenges and how could they be improved? Specifically supports, financial, food stamps, childcare, school, health, mental health, respite, activities, support groups.
wow, that's a lot. But I think by my granddaughter, the oldest, having autism, the support comes from, like I had stated, God first and foremost. And the challenges would be knowing how or trying to know how her brain works. And that although she may think it's abnormal, that's just how she works. And I had to learn and also teach my daughter that she's not really different. She's a person who just learns different. And that I have been, I don't want to put boasting, her advocate, her biggest advocate as far as the IEP because I've had meetings with the teachers, and I didn't want her to fall through the crack, okay? So, and one of the, just recently, let's say 2 years, when they transitioned her from special needs classes through the mainstream classes. And I remember sitting down with the English teacher, and it was through what do you call it? Not the open house meeting, but I'm sorry. When you have meeting conference, thank you. I'm sorry. And she sat down with me for a good 25 minutes telling me that it would be best to have my granddaughter in the mainstream classroom. And I went back and forth with her, and I said, you can say that to me. I said, but if she falls through the cracks, who's going to be there to lift her up? And that's when she really could see that I was a very concerned grandparent, and that's why she took so long with me, and it made a major difference. So she still has what do you challenges, okay, but to see her grow, yeah. So every milestone we celebrate. Yeah, so yeah, it was a lot. I had to realize I can't teach her the way I wanted to, because it's either you're going to learn it or you're not, you know. And my approach was, okay, this is how it's going to work. I couldn't use that approach with her. And I can see would help. It makes a major difference. Yeah. So she also learned, she taught me patience also. Um, and then I had a grandmother who, and I always keep telling her, I wish Grandma Mucci would have met you, because she has the patience of Job. And she's deceased. My youngest granddaughter, I always call her my independent granddaughter, but she also has challenges. Okay, she was just diagnosed recently. Okay, but she's still, everyone's different, so you can see how she wants to do things on her own. And I like it, and then other times I don't, because I don't want to feel like if you tell her no, she's gonna go against that. She wants to do it, and it's also part of learning. But I just want to keep her safe. So, but yeah.
Are there any challenges with housing?
Not at all. Not at all.
What about your own personal needs, your health, your mental health?
My mental health, if I had to do it on a scale of 1 to 10, would be a 9.5. And I'll go right back again to God. Okay, the kinship program. Once I was in the kinship program with Angela, I realized that I'm not alone. And I thought I was for the longest. And I realized I'm not. What I hear my youngest daughter went through in the beginning, but with therapists, me, her mom, um, church members, school. It didn't last long. So she has, and I know one of the things was, well, she doesn't have a behavior issue. And I'm like, oh, you don't see what we see, at home. And so it took my daughter a video to have the teachers see what we went through. She didn't exhibit that at school. So that's what I was like, okay. But yeah, so
Are the parents involved?
yes, my daughter is very involved. Her dad is now in the picture. Um, and there's been some challenges there, but talking, it like I told him, there's going to be times you and her are going to bump heads, and I can't step in all the time, but I'm more the mediator when it was all going back and forth. And it's getting better. So yes, he's involved. Yes.
What are the rewards?
Oh, knowing that she likes both parents involved. Also, the reward would be knowing that, looking back at where we were to now, her milestones that she's achieving, her kindness, and also her patience. It has taught me, like I said, patience. So the reward will be learning things from her.
What are your hopes for the child in your situation long term?
That she will be the best that she can be. Okay? There's so many things she wants to accomplish, and I think that's also great. I don't say to her, well, because you have autism, it's not going to work. I do not want to ever say that to her, because it can be achieved. You know, I know. Can I give you an example? Okay. The honors band. Okay, she made it into the honors band, and she was just thinking she wasn't gonna ever get into that honors band. And I said, you have to practice. I said, and what would happen if you don't? And she's just like, I'll cry. I said, okay. So that's the one thing you don't want to do right now. So we're going to make it where you're going to smile and laugh. She made it into the honors band. It was a lot of practice, a lot of me sitting there listening, okay? Even though I wanted to do other things, I stopped and I would listen to her. So, yes. And she made it into the honors band.
Are there any other parts of your story that you would like to share?
That I have two amazing granddaughters, a great daughter who's has told me today, and I didn't know this because I always say I'm the non-traditional grandmother caregiver. She said, well, you do more than I do. I said, oh, so that made me feel really good, really, really good. Um, and that I love being in the Kinship Connect. I've learned quite a few things that I didn't even know. Okay, and then just the wealth wealth of knowledge and websites and that's given so we can do the best we can. So, but yes,
Thank you so much for sharing your story today.
you're welcome.